You're listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast, talking TV shows and movies in easily digestible chunks.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted gender resignations. Welcome to the Bored to Death Bingecast, where we talk TV shows and movies in easily digestible chunks. So I am back now with episode 2 of Star Trek Discovery, episode 2, Far From Home. And so where we left off with episode 1 was Michael Burnham and Book went to an old Federation outpost where that has been being run for the last 40 years by one guy, where he says that he was waiting for somebody to show up who was essentially a ranking officer. I guess it didn't really depend on whether or not it was a high-ranking officer or not, to come and hang the flag of the Federation. And so they hang it, and Michael says that she needs his help to locate find the location of USS Discovery whenever and wherever it pops up, because temporal mechanics. So the teaser for that it left us with for the next episode showed that the Discovery was crashing onto another planet. Somebody from this particular time period calls the Discovery a museum because this is supposed to be from the 23rd century, and this is the 32nd century. And what happens after that? Well, we'll find out. I will see you after the binge.
Thank you for listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast. Be sure to like, follow, comment, and subscribe, and check us out on social media on Facebook and Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. You can also reach us via email at binge.cast@outlook.com. We are proud to be a part of the CKCC Radio family of podcasts, available through your podcast streaming service of choice. Be sure to check out the rest of the CKCC Radio family: Real Paranormal Talk, Motivational Moves, The Stupid Sexy Podcast, Talking Tracks, Club Kayfabe Wrestle Talk, J Bunny's Music Hub, The Race Nerd Podcast, and CKCC Radio's flagship show, The Nerd Table. And now, the binge is done, so let's get to the discussion.
And I am back, just now finishing watching episode 2, Far From Home. So this one has a little bit of a Western feel to this one. So it starts off showing the Discovery crew essentially passed out on the bridge of the ship. They're still in the time-traveling wormhole. And when they come to, they are exiting the wormhole and are traveling through, or essentially crashing through, a debris field of what looks like a chunk of the planet that they're heading towards was broken off. And so they're crashing through the bits and pieces of this planet, the giant chunks of rock that are floating in space. And granted, the ship's shields are still up, but they're still being bombarded. There's a lot of internal damage to the ship. So you see, all the control panels and the lights and everything are flickering. The ship's at red alert, and they eventually crash land on this planet. And the Discovery is apparently a really sturdy ship, because, we've seen other Federation starships crash land on planets before and were just insanely damaged. Like one of the episodes of Voyager, where Voyager crash landed on an ice planet. Now, granted, Voyager has the ability to actually land on planets, has landing gear. Ships from this particular time period do not have that capability. It's like that scene in Star Trek Beyond, where they were trying to get the USS Franklin off of a planet back into space, and Sulu says, well, starships were built in space. They weren't meant to take off from a planet. So, uh, so in this episode, it shows basically the aftermath of what happened during the battle from the 2-part episode from season 2, and it shows that Paul Stamets, the ship's chief engineer, he is still in the medical bay being treated for the wounds that he received as a result of an explosion in one of the corridors on Discovery, where he ended up with a piece of shrapnel in his chest. So he's being treated. He's woken up, and the first question he asks is, "When are we?" So somehow he knew that they were in another time. He just didn't know when exactly. And so it shows that it shows Saru is meeting with his chief of security, who is a former Enterprise crew member who transferred over with Christopher Pike but chose to stay on board. And Philippa Georgiou, the Mirror Universe counterpart, anyways, and Ensign Tilly. And they're discussing how to repair the ship, what they need, whether or not they should go out to explore, to, search for supplies, search for anybody who could probably help them out. And they don't know anything about the things that Michael learned about in the previous episode, like the Federation collapsing like 100 to about 120 years prior, because of the majority of the warp cores of starships basically being destroyed as the result of all the dilithium exploding. So one of the things that they know that they need to have repaired, that's a critical thing, is their ability to communicate. So Saru orders Georgiou and Nan to assist with the repairs, while he and Tilly go out to find someone who can help them out. So they leave and essentially end up in basically a saloon, swinging doors and everything. And they walk in, and when they do, everybody in the bar, including the bartender, all pull out weapons and aiming at them, and they all know that Tilly and Saru were on the ship that crash landed onto the planet. And while they're talking, they said, "Yes, we know that it is a Starfleet ship, but we don't know that you actually are with Starfleet. You need to prove that to us." So Tilly starts citing off Starfleet regulation to them, and that is apparently all the proof that they really needed. So they go about helping them make the repairs to this device. Oh, and she also says, "We have dilithium. We can give you some dilithium if you help us out." So that was all that they needed. So this one dude named Cal is helping her repair the damaged component that well, he's not really repairing it. He's more like creating a new one out of best way I could describe it is 3D printing, but with a pair of like these like pens that he's using. So he creates this new device, and after he gets done creating it, and uh, she and Saru are about to leave, these new guys teleport in and walk in, and the leader is wearing spurs. Yes, cowboy spurs. And as I'm watching this, I'm getting a lot of the original series vibes off of this, because I know that Gene Roddenberry called Star Trek: A Western in Space, and they pretty much went and brought this little element back just for this one little scene. So, anyways, the leader uh, kills Cal, and um, one of them finds Giorgio and brings her into the saloon. Fight breaks out, and it's revealed. It's also revealed to, or the Discovery crew also finds out that the surrounding ice that is pretty much covering Discovery is parasitic and is actually engulfing the ship. Every time the ice is in shade, it expands and engulfs more of the ship. And they said that once nightfall comes, it will completely engulf the ship and crush it and kill everybody on board. So, um, Paul Stamets is trying to conduct repairs with one of the other engineers, and she says, "Well, I can't do it because my back has been injured because of the crash landing, and you're claiming that you're okay, but I don't think you really are." And he says, "No, I'm actually not." And so she says, "Well, I can't go in there." And he says, "Well, should I get one? I'm gonna go get one of the other engineers." She goes, "No, they won't. They're not as good as you are." So he goes into a Jeffries tube to go to this one control panel. The ship gets rocked a little bit, and his wound gets opened up, and he's sitting there bleeding out onto the Jeffries tube floor. So she calls for the chief medical officer to come and patch him up, and in doing so, uh, well, to patch her up because of her back problem. And the entire time, she is telling him, "Okay, you need to get this control panel off. You need to replace this circuit. You need to replace this other circuit. All right, now put in the new ones." And when they do that, power is essentially restored to the ship, and then it goes back to the saloon, and uh, they uh, tell the guy, the leader of this little group, "Oh, well, if we see you again, we're gonna kill you." Um, well, not Saru, because Saru's still trying to uphold the rules of the Federation of basically do things peacefully. So this is mainly the bar people, the remaining bar people from earlier are saying this to him. So they send him off. He teleports out, and they give Saru a personal teleporter system, which everybody seems to have. So next scene shows them back on Discovery. Power's been restored. They're trying to lift off, but the ice is so uh has pretty much engulfed almost the entire ship at this point, probably about a good 80% of the ship. And so they're trying to lift off. Nothing's working, and then a tractor beam comes down and then proceeds to pull them up. And uh, they're all going, "What should we do?" And uh, uh, Saru sits there and thinks about it and says, "Hail them." So, much to Giorgio's dismay, because she's from the mirror universe, she believes more in, "Oh, well, they're probably hostile. Open fire." He doesn't do that. So, on the view screen pops up Michael Burnham, whose hair is actually a lot longer and braided at this point, and she tells them that it's been a whole year since she landed. So, uh, the stinger for the next episode is them going back to Earth, uh, where based on the way it looks like the Earth space dock. I don't know if it's supposed to be a new one or if it's supposed to be like a redesign of the one that we saw commonly in like in Star Trek 3 Search for Spock, or the space docks that we saw in uh, one of the episodes of Next Generation. Well, unfortunately, we won't be able to find out until the next episode comes out. And so, uh, honestly, I'm liking the way that the show is coming along. Um, I can't wait to see where they take the rest of the season. I don't know if they're planning on maybe bringing Discovery back to the 23rd century. Maybe there's more time travel involved. I don't really know just yet, but so far I'm really liking it. I haven't really had a whole lot of problems with this show at all. Um, I'm honestly glad that Star Trek is back, not really on TV like what it used to be with all the other shows, but hey, it's back. And I think that it's actually needed, especially nowadays. So, anyways, I'm Chris, and I will see you next time. Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper.